Yo, so I just wanted to talk about this new One Piece chapter spoilers that's out. I just wanted to go through the comments because there have been some very interesting points that were made, and I just wanted to go through it and give my thoughts because I am really excited for this week's chapter. There have been the chapter 995 spoilers are out. It's been posted for about a day-ish now. I just wanted to go through it really quick. There's some very interesting points that were made in the spoilers, and then I wanted to go through a couple of the comments because they made some very interesting points that I just wanted to go over, and I want to give my opinions about how I personally think Wano is going to be playing out. Okay, so apparently there's gonna be a very, from what I'm reading, um, looks like there might be a very brief fight between uh, Marco and Big Mom, and we've seen a couple chapters ago where you had Marco and Paris Barrow finally meet up with Big Mom after she after she finished tumbling her way down through uh, Onigashima, right? Um, so it says Marco versus Big Mom, and Marco's flame can damage Prometheus. I'm not entirely sure exactly what that implies. I did go through the comments, and one of them said that that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Um, but that we can't really speculate or come to a conclusion on until the chapter comes out, and I feel that's how a lot of these points, these uh brief summary uh from the One Piece spoilers is um I don't think we can really make too many inferences, come up with some very definitive, we can't really point to something definitively until the chapter gets released, or at least until we have the rough translations. Um, the one point that really stood out to me that a couple people talked about, was the fact that there is Queen, while looking at Sanji's wanted poster, Bounty poster says, quote, "So Judge's son is in this crew, Vinsmoke Judge," and I don't think we can necessarily infer anything from that. I personally, when I read that initially, I found it as maybe uh Kaido's crew, maybe specifically Queen, if she went on, if he went on some missions and uh was out sailing about, maybe with some other members of the crew, or somewhere out and about, possibly with Kaido, ran into at one point the Vinsmokes, ran into the Germa, um, and one of the comments that was posted said that looks like Queen has some sort of relation with Judge. Interesting, but I don't think necessarily that is the case. And somebody else had also posted, I wonder if Queen was a member of the Germa. I don't necessarily think that's all the case. I think they might have had an encounter at one point, and I don't think Queen at all was part of Germa. I don't think they've had any sort of really interaction between, maybe they started fighting, they started beefing. They had some sort of clash where they didn't see eye to eye, and well, they started fighting. Um, and knowing, I mean, as a pirate crew, it would make sense that uh, after that, if Queen didn't know anything about the drama, maybe after that encounter, Kaido, maybe some other uh, beast pirates, or uh, maybe Queen even did some research of his own, uh, to find out what the Germa and the Vinsmokes are all about. Um, so I don't necessarily think that Queen and the Germa Vinsmokes have any sort of connection necessarily, besides maybe the one fight, the one encounter that they had. They might have had many other encounters throughout their time, but I honestly don't think Queen was ever part of the Vince Smokes, the Germa crew, or anything similar to that. Um, so that was something that really had piqued my interest, and I was like, I don't necessarily agree with that. It'd be very interesting. I mean, we can't really tell, and like I said in the beginning, we're gonna need to see what exactly happens, um, in the chapter once it come out with the rough translations and everything like that. So it's gonna be very interesting in what context that quote and the scene that was drawn will be examined. The other thing that was very interesting I found was that Chopper was infected with the ice demon, and then we have it says next to that Usopp versus all. Well, that's a whole different one. So Chopper infected with an ice demon. I think that would be very significant. I don't know how that could possibly play out in the chapter. This could be sort of similar to back when the Straw Hats were over in Punk Hazard, and we have the very gigantified children, and we had one of them, the girl, steal the candy. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I feel really bad about that. Um, hey there, boys. Just post editing Angel here. Just wanted to tell you, I did end up looking up the character. I felt really bad forgetting about her name during the recording. So I just wanted to tell you here before y'all roast me in the comments, because I know it's gonna freaking happen. It was Mocha. She ended up eating. She was the one that ended up eating the candy, surviving the uh surviving the overdose from the drugs that were inside of it. But it was Mocha, the one who I was thinking of, that decided to eat the candy and save all of the other children from the drugs that they were being fed. So, yes, now you know. But you had her take the candy and run away, try to steal it from the other kids, because she knew it was very bad. I'm not sure if that's gonna be in the same scenario where Chopper is, and also like Luffy, how he took a bullet when he was, when he infected himself on purpose, in the prison, by hugging all the prisoners who were infected. So I'm not sure if Chopper has a plan. Maybe his thought process was something similar to like Luffy, or maybe it's a little bit more of a situation similar to um, the gigantified children with the candy, where he may be infected now, but he's able to continue. His willpower is very strong enough to the point where he is able to control it, and therefore be able to uh, come up with some sort of plan, some sort of idea that would help them solve for a cure for the disease that's going around. Because at this point, it seems like Apu is still running around with the vial that Queen had tossed him, um, and probably doesn't have any plans at the moment to give it up to the uh, rebels, to the pirates, to the raid that's going on right now. It doesn't look like, it feels like there may not be any plans at the moment. There was a couple of YouTubers that I remember saying that were giving their thoughts on the whole Apu and Queen tossing the vial. Um, I do personally think that all the supernova that in here, Apu, there is Egg is already working well, an alliance with the Straw Hats, but there's also Apu, and there is the um oh my god, I forget his name. There is the worst generation. Basil Hawkins. Um, I still personally believe that Basil Hawkins and Apu will betray Kaido um, at some point in the future to try and help take him down. Um, we may not know exactly when that is. I do believe that I firmly believe that they will betray Kaido. Um, I don't think they're gonna be an alliance. The situation that kind of led them to be with Kaido and align with him, um, and especially Hawkins. I feel like he is very tactical. So maybe him joining the Beast Pirates was just a way for him to make sure that he was able to continue living. Because, I mean, when you have a powerful pirate, a Yonko like Kaido, just standing before you, there's no way, especially becoming a new pirate, uh, and your strength and your power may not be up there with him. The only way for him to survive and eventually come up with a plan to possibly take him down would be to join him, and just do as he says and just continue going on with him. Um, so I think Hawkins and Apu would definitely at some point in the future soon will take down Kaido. And then OT catches Nami and says, "You captain can't be Pirate King." Nami replies with, "Luffy will definitely become the Pirate King." I will be definitely interested in seeing OT and Nami fight. I think that'd be very interesting. And I think that will also possibly set up a Page 1 and Usopp fight. I think those would probably make the most amount of sense. I don't think necessarily that Ulti and Page 1 are weak by any means, but I also don't think that Nami and Usopp are significantly weaker than both of them. And we still really haven't seen possibly the full potential of what all of the Straw Hats can do, especially Nami and Usopp. So I think that would be a perfect fight, because then that possibly sets up like in my personal my personal headcanon, I can definitely see um we have Queen and Zoro fighting, but that may not be a big clash. That may not last very long. I think if they do end up fighting, or if we get a snippet of that, I think at some point what we may see is um, maybe Jinbei jumping in for Zoro, telling him to go with Luffy and fight Kaido. Um, a lot of people speculate that we'll have a whole Supernova versus Kaido thing, and I think that will set up a second part where if Luffy is in that fight with them, that will be a great thing, because then that will set up a third part for the fight where it's just Luffy. And a lot of people have broken down Luffy's fights into, I believe it was 3 parts, and we may have already gotten the first part of Luffy versus Kaido in the beginning of Wano, when we had Luffy just get one hit KO'd by Kaido. And so if we compare that to possibly it was Crocodile, that first fight between Crocodile and Luffy, Luffy didn't really stand a chance, and he eventually got pummeled by Crocodile. And then there was a second fight where he stood a fighting chance, and he was getting some hits onto Crocodile, but eventually Luffy got taken down again. And I think that could be set up with the Supernova and Luffy versus Kaido, where they would be significantly weakened at that point. Kaido will be significantly weakened at that point, to where that could possibly lead to some exchange where maybe Kaido step off, thinking that he has indeed possibly defeated the supernova, um, or the supernova get knocked off, get thrown off, they get set off into a different place that isn't the roof, and then it will only be a Luffy versus a significant weaker Kaido. Um, so that would be very interesting, and then we would have King fighting uh, Sanji, and I think that would possibly be how it goes. At least that's how I feel it would go, and I think it would be very interesting if that's how it gets played out. I've told I have I've told my friend, I have said that one of the Yonko will definitely be going down in Wano. Um, it makes more sense for me that it is Kaido that will be going down, since it is his turf and they're the ones that and everybody is aiming at Kaido's head. And I think Big Mom would just continue to be delayed and be fighting essentially Marco, maybe some other people that may not necessarily be able to hold their weight, but that will be able to delay Big Mom enough to, by the time she may reach the roof or reach Kaido, Kaido is no more. Um, and Big Mom will be the one to escape. I definitely believe that it would be Big Mom that will be able to escape with her crew and try to figure out some other plan to move forward now that Kaido will be taken down. Um, I don't think both Yonko will be taken down. That seems like an extreme power gap to try and try to make up. Um, there is still a big gap, I would say, between what we have seen, some of what we've seen between Luffy and Kaido and the Yonko, but I feel Luffy has progressed enough, especially if he gets help from the other supernova, that Kaido will be taken down in Wano. Um, to say that maybe Big Mom will try to run, or Big Mom will uh, stay and continue fighting, maybe a different story. That's when maybe the alliance will be in fact um, defeated. But a Yonko, I firmly believe, will be taken down in this chapter. There was also something else that really, that I don't know if a lot of people remember, but there was an SBS that was done with Oda that at some point in Wano there would be a legend that is introduced, and I think since we're getting closer and closer to 1,000, right? The legend will come. It's if it's 999 where we get a silhouette of this legend, or we get something where like he's covered and he's masked, like how Yamato was first introduced. Um, a legend will come out in Wano if it's not at 999 how Yamato was introduced, like masked off, or a silhouette like Odin. Um, there will be chapter 1000 for sure will introduce something big that I believe will turn the tide for the alliance. A lot of people have speculated that the alliance will fail, especially that we're getting closer to 1,000. I don't necessarily think the alliance will fail. I think they will be pretty close to failure. There will be something that may feel like the alliance has lost hope, that there is nothing more for them to fight, that this is just over. But I don't. That may be as far as it gets. I don't think the alliance will fail. So the fact that we haven't really seen a legend, or I feel like there hasn't been any character that has a huge impact so far, I think at chapter 1000 we will get some significant character that will help the alliance and move him back on the track exponentially, to the point where Luffy may be able to recover and then fight his third round with Kaido. And maybe this legend will help Luffy unlock some sort of maybe power, will heal Luffy back to full health, that will just change the tide. I did go through some of the other comments. There wasn't really anything else that very piqued my interest. I mean, we still have Law that's missing. We don't know where Law is. We haven't seen, I believe, Kid at a certain point at this time still. So they're both of them are missing. And I believe Zoro at this point has been missing for a few chapters now at this point too. I think the last time we had seen him was when him and Drake were both charging after Apu. But since Apu had now managed to get trapped by this game with Queen, and neither Drake nor Zoro are there, they may be either continue to fight since Zoro maybe doesn't necessarily want the alliance. But I feel like there is Zoro is doing some heavy work out here, boys. He's pulling his weight. So I'd be very interested to see where those characters are, and I'd be really interested to see the matchups that are gonna be happening between Frankie. Frankie had run off with the numbers, and we don't know exactly what has happened to him yet. So there's Frankie. We have Brooke as well. I don't believe we've seen Brooke in a couple chapters now at this point. I believe we may have seen him. I may need to double check. But we've seen Robin with Usopp. I remember that. And then Sanji, Jinbei, and Luffy were all together trying to get up to the roof. So I'd be very interested to see, and Usopp and Nami with Ulti and Page 1. I think possibly that fight is set in stone. I definitely think we will be seeing Page 1 Ulti versus Usopp and Nami. So that's going to be very interesting, and see how that sets up the rest of the Beast Pirates versus Straw Hats that are left. I really don't have much else to say at this point. I did go through the rest of the comments, and I didn't really see anything else that really piqued my interest that I wanted to comment on. But there was just some of those main points, and I feel like until the chapter comes out, I feel like we can't really speculate too much until the chapter comes out. So with that being said, thank you all for joining in. This was just some ideas that were going through my head about how the future of 995 and beyond would play out. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you would love Wano to play out. I mean, obviously how we feel and our own personal headcanon and everybody theorizing what's going to happen is obviously very different from when Oda obviously does right and the chapter comes out. I think Wano has been, in my personal opinion, amazing. And there's always these twists and turns that I never expect to happen that just completely turns Wano upside down. And let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment, drop a like. And with that being said, I will definitely see you all for 995 when it does get released for the rough translations. And then I will also be looking at the Vish translation when it comes out, because I would love to see if there's any variance in how the rough translations versus the official translations are, and see if any wording makes a significant difference to how maybe future chapters play out. So, peace.